Hey, sports fans, welcome in. It's the Down and Dirty Scott Mitchell. So glad you could join us Wednesday. That's hump day. That's the little engine that could, meaning it got to the top of the hill and everything is downhill from here. So we're going to slide you right on into the weekend with today's show. And it's going to be fun today. Oh boy, we got some great topics to dive into, to digest, to dissect, and to divulge our opinion. So thank you for joining and cannot wait to get started. Of course, we have Hanging with Herman, which is becoming a regular part of our show, and just really enjoy those conversations and the time that we spent with the legendary wide receiver from the Detroit Lions, Herman Moore, joins the program. Anyways, he'll be on a little bit later, but oh man, I just want to jump into this because I love when these stories come up and you just want to just sink your teeth into them and you want to talk about it and you just want to go, oh, I love it. And so we got those today. Okay, first thing, the WNBA. I know I can't believe that I'm starting the show with the WNBA, but we are, and we're doing that because there's just times when people get things right. Okay, they have agreed. They have labor peace in the WNBA, which is a phenomenal thing to have happen. Now, I know that there's details to this. There's and here's the thing. I don't care. I don't care what the details are. I don't care if it's a good deal, a bad deal, whatever deal. I don't care. All I care about is they're smart enough to get it done. Like you there's just certain things in life, like if you stop doing it, you will be so irrelevant and you'll just be passed over so quickly and people will not. If there is a stoppage in the WNBA right now, I don't want to say it will die because it'll be around, but it will really lose any relevance that it has. Now, it's kind of interesting. Caitlin Clark, who wasn't good enough to be on the Olympic team, is kind of showing up for the FIFA World championships and has got the USA rolling, but of course she wasn't good enough to be on their teams before. Whatever, they do some things I just roll my eyeballs at. This was not one. I'm just telling you, I'm not going to get into the details. I'm not going to go any further in this other than to just say they've agreed, and I'm just telling you it's a good thing. Okay, now there's another thing that's going on in the Aiden Holloway, of course, was suspended from Alabama. And we go, why would we report on that or even say anything on that other than March Madness? March Madness is upon us. It's here. I hope you get your brackets filled out. I know we have our brackets up and going and all that good stuff. And this will impact Alabama. Maybe it'll be a good thing. You know, it's like one of those things you go, oh, stay away from Alabama, but maybe you don't. You know, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. I can step in the door, I can step out, in, out. I don't know if you remember what that reference is from. You are a smart individual. It was a very, very popular sitcom in the 70s and 80s. I can go in, I can go out, in, out. Anyways, that's your decision. You want to go with Alabama, you don't want to go with Alabama. Completely up to you. I don't care. I don't care. What's that from? Another movie reference. Man, I'm on a movie reference kick today. I don't know why, but I am. That's The Fugitive, by the way. I don't care. I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. I don't care. And by the way, that line was ad-libbed because Tommy Lee Jones, you know, when The Fugitive, Harrison Ford, he's in the tunnel, all of that stuff. It's like, I don't care. I don't care that you didn't kill. It's not my job. My job is to bring you in. Someone else will figure that out. I don't care. Anyways, I care. And I care that you're here. I care that we're having a good day. So Aiden Holloway has been suspended by the University of Alabama. Crimson Tide. All right. Jack Hughes, a hero from the Olympics. Jack Hughes wants his puck back. I want my puck back. Why are you taking my puck? How dare you? And it's kind of a funny thing, right? And so the Hockey Hall of Fame, of course, gold medal puck, the winning puck, all that stuff. What the puck are you doing? Like, there's just so much we could do with this, but we're not. But we are going to talk about it. We're going to talk about pucks and footballs and balls and all of these crazy things. And it just got me to thinking about, like, what is it that we're so, like, just enamored? Or maybe we're not. Because I have this. Oh gosh, what is the best way to describe it? I have balls, okay, and they're not the kind you're thinking of right now. They're like memorabilia balls. So they have pucks. We used to have a saying, and it's like let your balls drop and play like a man today, right? So have a set. And I wonder if like in hockey, it's like let your pucks drop, play like a man today, and grow a set of hockey pucks. I don't know. I just thought of that. Anyway, so I have memorabilia footballs. Okay. And I actually have other ones too. I have baseballs from when I was a kid in high school and all this stuff. In fact, I have, it's funny, like the very first game I played in varsity baseball, I still have the game, and I was a pitcher. So ninth grade, I'm a freshman in high school, and I'm throwing for the varsity. Woo! Yeah. Anyways, we won the game, and I think it was like 6-4 or something. And it was, you know, I don't know. Anyways, I have it, and I don't know where it is. I know it's in a bin somewhere, but I have it. And there was a time in my life when this puck just meant like everything to me. Not the puck, I have a hockey puck, by the way, Sergei Fedorov hockey puck. And it's just funny how these things, like, they matter so much to us. Like, there's this whole thing about in the moment, you save the game ball, or all of these things. And I'm trying to figure out in my brain why that matters. Why does it matter to us that we have those things? Now I'm not talking about, because we've had conversations about people spend $5 million to get somebody's one of one cards, or whatever it is, the Michael Jordan's whatever. It's there's this side, there's this person that says, I want to have something that no one else has. And and I think it's one of those things where when you're just like uber wealthy, like, you're just so jaded, like nothing. You've been able to experience kind of everything. You've met all the most important people in the world. You've gone to the most amazing places in the world. You've ate the most amazing food in the world. You've been able to kind of just do everything. And so for you just want to have something that you can lay claim to that nobody else has. Like, I've got this. Like, okay, we're all really wealthy, but yeah, but do you have this? Do you have my collection of whatever? And I think that's part of why people do collecting, right? Is that they've had everything else. So it's like they're just jaded. They're like, nothing is exciting to people anymore. So they've got to have this thing that's just insanely ridiculous. I was coaching I was coaching high school football, and we had an auction. And in the auction, we had this, it was like, oh geez, it was, we had Shaquille O'Neal's shoe. So I don't even know how we got it. And the thing was like a size 22 or 24. I have size 14 shoes. And I had my shoe on, and I put my foot with my shoe inside of Shaq's shoe. And still there was room, like, big. In fact, I remember I met Shaquille O'Neal once. And I don't know why. So I just signed with the Detroit Lions, and I'd gone and I was staying in a hotel for a couple of weeks because I didn't have a place to live, but I was there to training in the off season. So it's middle of winter. I'm at this hotel that's very close to the Palace of Auburn Hills. And it just so happened that the Orlando Magic they were staying in the hotel. And Shaq's like a young player. I want to say maybe second year in the NBA. And we run into each other in the hallway. And he's like, "Hey man, what's up? How you doing?" And it was just really funny. And I've just always appreciated. I like Shaq. Shaq a good Shaq. Anyways, but someone wanted his shoe. Getting back to this whole memorabilia thing, like someone and we auctioned it off, and it went for a lot. Thank you very much, Shaq, or whoever got us the football for whatever we got from Shaq. Great, awesome. Anyways, so but there's that side of that. There's the people that buy crazy money for memorabilia. Fine. And I'm maybe there's other reasons why they do it, but I firmly believe that one of the main reasons is they have something that nobody else has. Now, from a player's perspective, like I want my hockey puck. I want it's like you have the moment. The first time I played in a varsity baseball game. And you don't ever want to lose the moment, right? You want to you want to have it forever. You want to just say this is mine. This is you can never take the moment away, right? And so I think one of those things where you're like you hold on to it because there's no you may never get it again. Like it can never go back to the first time that I was playing, or the first game you played, or the first win you had, or the first touchdown that you had. Now some guys like and I've watched these, like Emmitt Smith has like storage unit full of organized files and bins and all of this stuff of their stuff, like his stuff, like all of his stuff is in this place. It's a stuff place, and he has one, and we all have them. And when Jack Hughes was just so adamant about his hockey thing, it just got me thinking about like my balls, my stuff, my things. And as a kid, I got a football, and Houston Oilers, Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm 10 years old and I get invited to this game. So I grew up in Utah and I got to fly to Houston, Texas and watch the Houston Oilers play the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Love You Blue Houston Oilers in the eighth wonder of the world, the Astrodome. And it was the most unbelievable experience of my life. And I got a football. And it was a game ball. So I have an NFL game football from the time I was 10 years old. And that football, I can't even describe what it's meant to me my whole life. I think that football means more to me than any other piece of memorabilia I have of my time playing in football. I probably have, oh gosh, 50, I don't know, between 30 and 50 NFL footballs. I don't even know what they're for. I really, now I have stuff that's commemorated and they put the white things on it, whatever. And it's, season record, this, what, I have one that's kind of odd. I was with the Cincinnati Bengals and Corey Dillon rushes for a record. Like it was like 240 yards or something against the Denver Broncos. And Corey just went off. Like, and Corey, I'll just tell you, like he's one of my top 3 guys in my era that I would have as a running back. He was really good. And kind of miss you. Like he was really good. Anyways, I got a game ball because I was starting quarterback for the Bengals in the game that Corey did. It's like I didn't do it. I actually did. I kept the ball on 4th down that actually extended a drive And I think the next play he went and scored a 25-yard touchdown or something. So it was part of what allowed him to break the record. And now it I thought it would stick around for a long time. It didn't. Someone flew by it. Not very long after Corey had done it. Anyways, so I've gotten these game balls for just all kinds of stuff. And the ones that I know what I have them for are they have all the writing on them. And the other ones, for whatever reason, I don't know why I didn't write something or put a piece of tape, said, hey, this is for this or whatever. And I just in my head said, oh, I'll remember. And it's like I literally have, 3 or 4 bins full of NFL footballs from games, from some moment, something, and I have no idea what they are. Now, the problem with this is they're in bins, my stuff room. And it's like the value of this stuff for a player kind of diminishes over time, and you would think it would be the opposite. I know, like closer to when I retired from sports, this stuff meant a whole lot more to me. And I have a studio, and I have memorabilia. I have my jerseys, I have helmets, I have some of these footballs. I have my hockey pucks. I got a basketball signed by John Stockton and Karl Malone. And I think I'm most proud of that, quite frankly. And it's simply because John Stockton, Karl Malone never signed a basketball, or I don't want to say never, but very rarely did the two of them sign it on the same basketball. It was so apparently I've got something that's worth a lot of money. If you're a Utah Jazz fan and a Karl Malone and John Stockton fan, which I am, and it's something I don't want to part with, but it's certainly something that I'm like, yeah, this is kind of cool. And so when I first retired, and I found this really funny. When I first retired, I had a stuff room. Okay, so I had my house, and I had this game room, right? And had pool table, all what a game room looks like and all that stuff. And in the game room, I had everything. I mean, every photo, every jersey, every helmet. I had huge displays and these armoires or bookshelves and ornate, really nice. I mean, I had everything, and it was a rather large room, and I mean it was just caked with my stuff. It was everywhere, and that was like extremely important to me. And then as I have moved through my life and I moved further away from my career, it changed. And so I had this big room. I actually moved, and then it became, and I had nothing in my office. And then I had an office, and apparently we all have to have an office in our house and whatever. So I've always had an office, or like I have a studio, and so I had a reduced um like display of my stuff. And so things started to go into bins. And by the way, the whole game room thing, I still had tons of stuff in bins. Like I couldn't even um I couldn't even put everything out. Like it was impossible. Like it'd have to be all throughout my entire house. So then I moved again, and it didn't go in my office. It went on a shelf in my office. And so every move, every day, every time that I got older and I got further away from things, I'm kind of like, I don't want the hockey puck anymore. Like it doesn't mean that much to me. Now I keep all of my stuff. And so the only reason I have stuff out as it is now is because I have this studio, and it looks cool in the studio, because it's kind of a sports studio, and you kind of, I don't want to say you have to, but I like it. I like the look of it, so it works. It works for what I'm doing. But yet I'm at a point where it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Meatballs. That's from Meatballs, by the way. And I may be quoting it wrong. I don't know. Who cares? Anyways. But here's the thing. I don't think my kids care. This is what I think I was going to save it all for. Like, to have that, I got older, and because I've asked my kids, like, and I mean, do you want any of this stuff? Like, is it going to matter? And I think my kids don't want to have the conversation, because if they're having my things, it means there's something that's gone wrong with me, and therefore, um, they don't want to have that conversation. They don't want to think. So because they don't want to talk about it. They're like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, yeah, fine, we'll take it. But they don't seem like, oh man, I can't wait. I want my dad's jerseys. Now, what's been cool for me is that my kids have wanted in sports to wear my number. And that is that's the best thing in the world. So they want to kind of in their sports, and they did, and it was awesome. In fact, we're going to talk about that when we return, because Matt Leinart is being stuck in the mud about his jersey at USC. So we're talking about that and a whole bunch more when the old Down and Dirty returns. So stick around. We'll be right back.
The Pete Souza Show, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. You want to talk NFL draft? I don't know. How about we get you Todd McShay? You want to talk Big 12? We can get you the commissioner. Somebody about the Cowboys? How about we have on the owner, Stephen Jones? Pop culture? Michelle Beadle. I mean, we will bring on the people that you want to hear from. And these people don't join us because of me. They join us because of you. You got to watch this show, okay? It's got everything you need. Sports, hijinks, laughs. Did I mention hijinks? We'll see you on the Pete Souza Show. Now, we are under the 365 Sports umbrella. Check it out. I'm wearing a Tulane shirt. No idea why.
It's the Pete Souza Show. Sports, Pete.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Sports don't stop, and neither do we. Welcome to 365 Sports, your home for real conversations, original shows, and coverage that lives where sports actually happen. Join David Smoke, Craig Smoke, and myself, Paul Catalina, for in-depth interviews and local stories to the moments national media misses. 365 Sports brings you the voices, debates, and perspectives fans care about every single day. Subscribe now on YouTube, search 365 Sports, and never miss a moment, because sports aren't seasonal. They're 365.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. Down and Dirty, Scott Mitchell. So glad you could join us. Hump Day. Woohoo! Hump Day. Hey, we are actually, it's March, by the way, if you didn't know. Yesterday was St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day removed. St. Patrick's Day, interesting day. Not going to get into it, but anyways, hope you had a fun time with that. But it's also March Madness, and I believe we have our brackets. Do we have our brackets, Zach? And do they show up somewhere on our screen or somewhere you can join us? So you got to do it like kind of soon. But join our bracket and see if you're better than we are. And if you are, congratulations, because we're kind of dumb to start with. So I don't know that it's something you want to put on your social media. Anyways, but we do want to compete against you, and we will kick your butt. There, I said it. Is it on there anywhere, Zach? Is it? Did we get those things or not? Or are you allowed to talk?
We are in the process of still getting it all taken care of, but it
Okay.
will be in the show description and stuff.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. So here you go. We will go check the show notes out. Ooh, yeah. And you can be a part of everything that's going on here, because I love March Madness, and it's all fun and it's all good until someone pokes their eye out, and then it's not any, or you'll shoot your eye out. Which is I'm just full of movie references today. That's of course Ralphie in A Christmas Story. I'm gonna digress for just one moment here on the show, just for a moment. When I was a kid, and I'm blown away by this. Before, let me just make that declaration. When I was 8 years old, I wanted a gun for Christmas, and I got one. I got a 22 rifle. Now think about this: it's like the deadly gun, and you're giving it to an 8-year-old. I was 8. My parents gave me this gun, and best Christmas present I ever had. Oh my goodness. I still have it today. I grew up with guns. My family was, it was a normal thing. I actually, believe it or not, took a gun to school. Not for any, it just was in your car. Like it was just it wasn't like on purpose. Like literally we grew up with the guns in the gun rack in the back of your truck. Now, I didn't have a gun rack, but I did have a gun. It was like, I don't know, on the floor in the back seat of the truck I drove to school, only because we would go hunting like for an hour before school started. I used to take a shotgun and walk 2 blocks from my house into these like farm fields and go hunting for pheasants. That was just normal. When I was 12, I got a shotgun. So having a gun was like a very important thing. Now you're asking, why did what rabbit hole am I going on here? It was the, you're going to shoot your eye out thing. So I got a gun. An 8-year-old got a gun, as you remember from my story. And I was just fascinated with the gun. I used to play with it all the time. Think about that. You're in your bedroom, right? Playing with this gun. And my parents had this house. It was an old house, and they remodeled it. So I grew up in this old house that had been remodeled. It was a beautiful home. It was the coolest thing in the world. And at the time we hadn't completely finished the house, but we'd moved in. And so they were putting in a wood floor in the dining room, and it was the parquet, like the Boston Garden. So that's the type of wood. So they had these different patterns of checkered wood, and they were downstairs sawing, and so it's in the house, and I'm upstairs playing with my 22, and I didn't think it was loaded, and it was, and I shot a hole in the ceiling of my bedroom, and literally, like, you're going to shoot your eye, and I did. I didn't shoot my eye out, but I shot this gun, and it scared me to death. Now, typically, I was taught gun safety and all these things, and it was, and I was, very careful with the gun. I never pointed it at anyone or myself or muzzle, and I didn't think it was loaded. But as the saying goes, a gun is always loaded, and I shot it, and it shot a hole in my ceiling. And so I took some putty and I just put it in the hole, and no one heard it because they were cutting with a saw when the gun went off, and so there was no sound. And this was in the, I don't know, I guess it'd be like probably 1978 or something like that. My parents sold this house. I went back to the house. I know I'm telling this crazy story, but it's okay. So the house, I grew up in this town, Springville, Utah, move away, come back many, many years later, by like 30 years later, and I'm coaching high school football in my hometown. And so I go into the house because I said, "Do you mind?" I grew up in this house. People owned it. And I said, "Do you mind if I just look through the house?" And they're like, "No, that'd be wonderful." So I had my kids with me, and we go in, and walking through the house, and I go up in my bedroom, and there's still the little dab of putty from all these years, and no one knows it. They probably know it now, but anyways, you'll shoot your eye out, so be careful. Okay, Matt Leinart. Matt Leinart is, of course, we all know him from his USC fame, Heisman Trophy winner, college football Hall of Fame. He's on the what is it, the Big Noon deal, college football, does a tremendous job. Played for a brief. I thought he was going to be a phenomenal NFL quarterback. Of course, he's left-handed. We love all that. And there was a player that was going to or had gone to USC and wanted to wear the number 11, and number 11 is retired at USC. And so Matt Leinart said, look, I am never going to unretire my jersey for some random dude who, by the way, would wear number 11 and transfer in a year. And oh my goodness, did this bring up a whole slew of thoughts in my little brain. Most of them, or at least some of them, are about why in the heck are we so enamored with like our jerseys? Like what is it about having a jersey that we just have to have our jersey? And it's like, so my jersey's retired in some circles, and like in my high school it's retired. And so my son, when he came through and played football, I'm like, heck yeah. And in fact, Matt Leinart said, the only way that anyone's going to wear my jersey is if it's my kids. And I didn't know this, but Matt Leinart's actually old enough to have kids in college. And it's like, man, when did that happen? Anyway, so yeah, Matt Leinart said no way on this. And of course, it takes me also back to a controversial time with the Baltimore Ravens, who had previously been the Baltimore Colts. My jersey number 19 was the jersey I'd had my whole life. That I referred to the freshman year of high school when I was the last player to get a jersey because I was the freshman, and they gave me 19 because it was the last one. No one wanted 19. And so that was the number I got, and it worked well for me, because I just always felt like it was a lucky number. So I had it all through high school, baseball, football, all through college, all through my professional year, same number, never changed. And I get to Baltimore, and the fans were just irate because Johnny Unitas had been number 19, and he, of course, had retired. I mean, his jersey was retired, and he was the sacred cow in Baltimore, rightfully so. I love Johnny Unitas. And, I get to Baltimore and actually have lunch with Johnny Unitas, and he goes, I don't care if you wear my jersey or not. It doesn't matter. And I always looked at it like kind of this, all the fans, they buy the jerseys and they do it in like as a paying homage to their favorite player. And that's kind of how I look at it. And it was just funny. Now this is an interesting thing because we're in a really weird era of college football, and it's like I'm here today, I'm gone tomorrow kind of thing. And I don't know. The older I get, the less I care. It's just like having my balls, having my jersey. I just don't care. If someone wants to wear, I really think if at this point in my life, if someone wanted to wear it, it would just be fine. But there's this part of your life where you're like nobody, because and I think it's this thing that you just don't ever want to be forgotten, or you want everything that you did to be so special and so memorable that people, it's almost sacred. And I think every player, and I don't know if they'll all admit this, will say, I don't ever want anyone to break my records. I don't ever want anyone to do better than I did. Because we sit here all the time, even on sports talk stuff, and we're always comparing, like, who's the greatest of all time. And I'm just telling you, Michael Jordan, when he retired, like, thought, I am the freaking man, and I will always be the freaking man. Now, I'll tell you what's more impressive about Michael Jordan is his shoes. Like the fact that his shoes are still this unbelievable brand. I mean, so if you remember back in the day when Magic had Converse, right? And Larry Bird, they were Converse, and they're like Converse ain't even around anymore, and they're long gone. So if there's anything that's like magical that's going to last forever, it's Air Jordan. It's that Air Jordan brand. Like it's just phenomenal. So I think that's the problem. It's just all a bunch of big egoed, football, basketball, whatever people, and we want to be remembered as doing something nobody else did and nobody ever else will. And you look at the Miami Dolphins from 1972. Whoever is still left, and there are a few of them left, they are celebrating this every year. And they sweated it out one year with the Patriots. They really did. They were just like, oh gosh, holy cow. Like the Patriots are just anyways. Okay, let's move on. Bill Belichick, our favorite football legendary coach. Speaking of this whole idea, and of course, in the background, there's his girlfriend, right? So Jordan Hudson. Now, Jordan Hudson, all people are talking about is that Bill Belichick and this young woman, Jordan Hudson, are boyfriend and girlfriend. And people just are up in arms about this. And I'm not here to debate the validity of this or why it is. There's a thing called the crazy hot matrix, right? And so on one side is the crazy side axis, and on the other one is the hot. And so you kind of if the girl's really hot, this is how you date people. If the girl's really hot, she can be crazy to a point. And then there's like no man's land, and there's certain names, there's certain professions, there's certain things. And if you're ever interested, just look up the crazy hot matrix, and they'll explain how that works. And then there's the converse of this with men. And so it's the good looks and it's money, right? And so to a point, women will go, I like a hot guy. But then there comes a point where they go, but if he's poor and broke, I don't like him anymore. But it levels and it just goes flat. And on the money side of it. So you can have all the money, and you could even put prestige. So money, prestige, like by far outweighs the value on this mate. It's not mine to make this up, but that's kind of how it's viewed. But I'm not here to debate that about Bill Belichick and his a much younger girlfriend. They just had this vindication. So apparently she won this lawsuit, or not a lawsuit, but she won this national cheerleading competition because she was a cheerleader apparently for the New England Patriots. Not really sure how they met. Doesn't really matter, because the point of all of this isn't to discuss the relationship of Bill Belichick and his girlfriend. The discussion when I saw this, well, first of all, they tried to copyright, and they may very well have been able to do it, gold digger. Okay. Now, why would you call it gold digger? And kind of in a tongue-in-cheek way of making fun of and mocking what people think about their relationship. And apparently it's an earring and like a jewelry line, supposedly is what they're using this for. And it'll be uber successful because we'll all want to get gold digger stuff, right? But what I brought this up for was it made me think about, and Charles Barkley was on this interview, and he says, look, I'm really good friends with Bill Belichick, and I've been friends with him for a long time, even back when I met him when he coached with the Cleveland Browns. And so I was with Bill before he was successful. I'm not one of these, hey, let's hop on the bandwagon kind of people. And he said, what I'm really disappointed in is that these are all the conversations people are having about Bill Belichick. About, oh man, why'd he go to North Carolina? And he's got this this relationship he has is somewhat unconventional. Like typically people who are older tend to be with people who are older and younger. And yes, there are older men who have these young girlfriends. That's not it's not something that doesn't ever happen. It just doesn't happen often. And and it brought up this question for me about legacies. And so is it possible or at what level, like what do you have to do? Like what do you have to do? So because everyone goes, Bill Belichick, greatest coach of all time, right? Like I don't think anyone argues that. And even with the Hall of Fame where it was like, yeah, they didn't get in the first time. And it's like, well, why? What is it all these other things? Is it what is it? What is he doing stuff that could ultimately tarnish his relation or his legacy? And it got me to thinking about other people and some of the things and has it diminished their legacy? Because I look at Bill Belichick and I go, like I think he has an amazing legacy. I think he's an amazing coach. I think I don't have any qualms about going greatest coach of all time. And I think it's hard at this point because we talked earlier about you want to be remembered for someone who no one is going to touch what you did, and so you want to live in immortality as the very best forever. Like that's what you want to do as an athlete or a coach or whomever. And I think it'll be hard pressed for someone to surpass Bill Belichick. I think a lot of people said, Don Shula was the greatest coach of all time. Don Shula, more wins than anyone, and I was coached by Coach Shula, and he was a great coach. But he didn't win a Super Bowl past 1973. And so you're kind of like, and he's been surpassed. All of a sudden Bill Walsh comes along and he maybe argues some of these other coaches. And of course, Belichick comes along and, is Chuck Noll better than Don Shula? Is it Tom Land, and so, but it's not that Shula did something to tarnish his legacy. It just faded later. And I think Michael Jordan, I think Michael Jordan's going to be like that, because you like the Babe Ruth, Babe Ruth, and maybe so much of it is the mystique of Babe Ruth, because if the reality is maybe if we knew Babe Ruth, and like people are known today, maybe his legacy would get tarnished. If people found out he was just a normal human being, because there are stories about the legend of Babe Ruth, and so it got me thinking of where's the demarcation of, hey, I still have my legacy intact, or I've kind of stepped over the line, because like Pete Rose. Pete Rose was phenomenal what Pete Rose did as a baseball player. Like he was a guy who did something be hard to beat. And everyone was like Charlie Hustle and Pete Rose. Pete Rose is about as synonymous with baseball as there is anything, any name. And yet for years it was all about gambling. It was all about not being let into the Hall of Fame. And it had nothing to do with what he did as a player. Like it was an incredible player, but there was something he did that damaged his legacy, and do people go, yeah, okay, fine. You coached in North Carolina and you weren't very good. You didn't win a Super Bowl after Tom Brady left, but he did. And so all of a sudden people, and you didn't make it into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. So, and maybe you kind of cheated a little bit, like people trying to knock and with Bill Belichick, but I don't think it ever I don't know, meets the standard of legacy destruction. And yet here's Pete Rose, who it looked like it was. It looked like all he's going to be remembered for, all we're ever going to talk about is he cheated, he gambled. That's it. And it certainly destroyed his reputation. Now, he was later put into the Hall of Fame after he died. I'm not going to say it. After he died. And and yet, are we going to sit here and go, there's always going to be that's so it's almost like, yeah, he did enough to repair it. But you take someone like OJ, like did OJ wreck his reputation? Did he destroy what was great with him? Some of these other people, like Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens, or, these were great players in the or like Brett Favre. It did, and some of these scandals that have come out after, he's been done, the thing that happened when he was still with the Jets, and this thing with the volleyball complex, and does it meet the standard? Or someone like Colin Kaepernick. Now, Colin Kaepernick never really had this tremendous legacy to start with. His legacy almost started when he decided to kneel for the national anthem. So maybe it's a different situation. But it's fascinating to me how there's this just precarious walk that some of these legendary people, and you just go, man, they're so amazing, but yet after the fact, they engage in things that just kind of destroy what we know. I find it absolutely fascinating. Okay. Oh boy, what are we going to do? Because they're all right, let's go. So I just want to bring this up because I think this is fascinating. So JC Tretter was an offensive lineman in the NFL for 9 years, and he has been elected as the National Football League Players Association union boss. So he's the guy that's going to negotiate with the NFL in all the labor discussions. And I'm so happy. I actually am finally happy because they have all these people that you gotta go, who the heck are they? And it's kind of ripe with kind of maybe corruption and no interest in the players. And it's finally, I think they got it right, and they got the right person. So he's actually worked with the Players Association president. The union boss is different. Like he's the president is kind of works. He's a liaison for the players. So you have a player rep. And so he's worked from that perspective, but he also played in the NFL for a long time. And now he's going to represent the NFL players and former players in the players union, which is I think a huge thing. And a smart thing is like, why has this not happened to this point? And you wonder, what the kind of impact it will have. And here's the challenge, right? The challenge is the NFL is so popular and it's so good. It's kind of hard. There's just, I don't know how much angst and how much turmoil there is between the players and the owners. There's going to be the discussion about 18 games. There's going to be discussion about, how much practice time, how much this and that time, and, all that good stuff, and preseason, and are we going to go to Europe, and how many, all this stuff. And so there's healthy discussions, but the reality is there's just more and more ways to view everything, all of our entertainment. And it's just, the NFL is just ripe for another boost of success in what they're doing. So it's going to be hard. I don't want to say it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to find places of conflict. And of course the players are always going to be on the side there. And so it'll be fascinating to see what happens, because they're going to have a new agreement coming up here in a few years. But I think they finally got it right, so I'm glad to hear it. Okay, Moneyball. We got to talk about Moneyball. Moneyball, you of course remember Billy Bean, and they turned it into a movie, the Oakland Athletics. Moneyball is back with the Colorado Rockies, and we're going to talk about what that means. And I found some fascinating things about where Moneyball kind of took a left turn and delved into the NFL for a few years. And you may or may not know about it, but you're going to find out about it if you stick around here on the Down and Dirty.
Hey, it's Matt Mosley of The Matt Mosley Show. We want you to watch our show every day, 1 to 3 on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. And you get to see big name guests like Gary Patterson, Art Briles, Scott Drew, Doug McNamee, major Cowboys insiders, ESPN legends like Sal Palantonio. When news breaks on Cowboys or Baylor or NFL, we want you to look here first. 1 to 3 weekdays. It's the Matt Mosley Show.
For 75 years, Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. No gimmicks, just durable, well-designed bottles built to last. Join us on our mission to amplify life, not complicate it. Because at Nalgene, what goes into our bottles matters as much as the adventures they fuel. Explore more at nalgene.com. That's NALGENE.com.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone, and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Hey, it's Zach Gelb. We're talking NFL and college football. Plus, we have some of the biggest interviews in sports media. You got to check out the Zach Gelb Show right here on 365 Sports, weekdays, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 to 3 p.m. Central. And make sure you subscribe to my channel, youtube.com/@Zach Gelb Show.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. Oh man, I'm having so much fun today. I really am. I am having so much fun. I'm going down rabbit holes, and I'm pulling myself out of them too, which is impressive. Like I'll get right on the verge of going, where am I going with this? And then I'll be, oh yeah, that's where I'm going with it. And so I've been able to come back, and I'm so glad, because I would hate to be lost in a rabbit hole in the middle of my show and not know what to do or how to find myself out of being lost and trapped. Okay, Paul DePodesta. I don't know if you know that name or not, but I'm gonna share it with you. So of course he is the savant, right? If you remember the show Moneyball, Billy Bean, played by gosh, what's his name? I can't even. This is so bad. Anyways, it'll come to me. Brad Pitt. There we go. Brad Pitt played Billy Bean, and of course, Jonah. What's Jonah's name? Jonah something. Jonah. I want to call him Jonah Hall. Hill. Jonah Hill. Thank you for the clarification. Anyways, Jonah Hill plays Paul DePodesta. So Paul was kind of they were into this whole analytics thing. And so baseball was very traditional in how they scouted players and how they played and all this stuff. And they took a very unique and novel approach in how to do analytics for baseball. And it was about get your lineup full of players that get on base. It doesn't have to do home runs. It doesn't have to, just they get on base more than anyone else. And they may suck at their position. Like their first baseman never played first base, didn't know how to play first base. They said, we don't care. You get on base and we'll teach you. Anyways, it turned out to be rather successful a lot of people started adopting this. And Paul DePodesta is now landed with the Colorado Rockies, who have been abysmal, like horrible. Now, Paul, which I didn't know, and this is very interesting, actually spent 9 or 10 years with the Cleveland Browns. And so I'm looking at this and I go, okay, the Colorado Rockies just hired the guy who was with the Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Browns have been horrible. So like this stuff ain't working. Right. And you wonder if it really does work, because that, you know, so I'm reading through this article of Paul DePodesta, and he goes, you know, there's he wanted to take analytics to a different level and kind of you know, add a lot of other things into it, a lot of individualized coaches for pitchers and all this stuff. But he had this comment about kind of his time in the NFL. And because a lot of people that's been the criticism is like the Browns sucked and you were there for a long time. And so this whole analytical thing in the NFL didn't seem to work, at least on a you know, a regular basis. And he said the margins of the NFL still alarm him, and every game DePodesta believes comes down to 6 to 8 plays. And like I'm not a rocket scientist, I'm not a savant, I'm not even an analyst, and I could tell you that, and just like duh, we know that. And he goes, so as far as the other 150 plays in a game, it's kind of a tie. And he said it's just really hard to live that way. Now, I actually vehemently do not agree with this. Yes, there are 6 to 8 plays that things absolutely come down to, but those 150 plays, those are those plays of like execution, like and it's that, you know, I'll give you a great example of this. This is a really good example. So Zach Wilson, those 150 plays, and if you cut them in half, you know, whatever they are, 75 plays or 70 plays, or, you know, 75 plays per team. It was those routine, those mundane plays that's where the difference is. It's like, oh, you know, and everyone always looks at that last play of the game. It's like, oh, it cost us the game. And then everyone goes, yeah, but you remember this play back here, and you remember that play. And you're like, yeah, I do remember that. And, but those other plays matter. The ties matter. And it's really the team that masters being efficient throughout the entire game, whether it's, you know, not losing the game or not giving up the game, or if your technique is just a little bit better than the other guy, or you're a little bit stronger in this, or you play, you know, there's a lot more than goes into just 6 to 8 plays. And I'm kind of shocked by this. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of shocked because I think of the great coaches that I played for, and how they just emphasized becoming a master at what you do, and the great offenses that I was a part of. That's what it was about. It was about executing those 150 plays, and then those other ones you try to find, and you try to minimize, because these 6 to 8 plays are talking about, some of those are turnovers. So don't turn the ball over, and just be excellent the rest of the time. All right. We'll see what happens with Colorado Rockies. Maybe he's a freaking genius and turns the whole thing around. Herman Moore, hanging with Herman right around the corner when the Down and Dirty returns.
Hi, my name is Mike Lacey. I'm with Beyond the Game, a new podcast to the Rogue Media Network. Just when you thought you'd had a little bit too much about BYU, here we are to provide you even a little bit more. I, as part of the BYU group, am grateful that we're part of the Big 12, and really grateful that we're part of the Rogue Media Network. Thank you.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. The luxury and confidence of premium clad stainless steel meets scratch defense extreme non-stick that won't scratch ever. With an ultra-thick aluminum core for high-performance heating. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance of clad stainless steel. Scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Are you looking for top shelf sports talk about the West Virginia Mountaineers, where you can get objective analysis, but with the passion of a fan? Well, look no further than right here at Couz's Corner. I am Justin Couz Walker, the host of Couz's Corner, and you can find my show on demand over at YouTube. Most shows are uploaded by 5 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also check out my live post-game reaction shows. My special guest interviews, you can find it all on YouTube at Couz's Corner. Go check it out.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. It's the Down and Dirty. Scott Mitchell. So glad you could join us, be a part of our show. Please like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. It makes us happy, and we like to be happy. Of course, it's Wednesday. It's hump day. The little engine that could got up over the hill, and now we're sliding right on into the weekend. And, of course, not a better way to get moving toward the weekend than to have our Hanging with Herman on hump day. Of course, the legendary NFL Detroit Lion wide receiver who never was actually covered. He was always open and caught every pass ever thrown to him. Herman Moore joins us on the program. Always a pleasure. Welcome to the show. How you doing today, Herman Moore?
I'm good, Scott Mitchell. How are you today, sir?
You know, I'm excited. I always look forward to this conversation, but I'm more excited today for a couple of reasons. One of them is, did you ever have something you're trying to figure out and you just can't figure it out? Like, you rack your brain trying to solve that and you can't figure it out. I actually this morning at 6:30 woke up and figured out how to solve. Now, I like to shoot guns, and I have this old gun, and I took it apart, and I figured, well, I'll figure out how to put, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out. I did AI research. I found the old manual, and I couldn't figure out how to put all the parts back into this gun. And I knew it was important to have all the parts in the gun, because if you don't, it'd be kind of scary to shoot it because you don't have it right. Anyways, got it figured out this morning, and I can't tell you how much excitement that brings to me.
That's absolutely fantastic. You know what? Let me know. The one I'm working on is called Life. And it just keeps escaping me. So I'm just trying to understand how to figure that out.
Yeah, Life for me, yeah. I don't have any good advice for you on Life. I think we just okay. Do you watch March Madness? Are you a March Madness guy?
I watch a little bit, not much.
So you don't fill out a bracket or anything?
No. I used to. I could never make it work. I used to do it a lot when I was, younger, back in I don't know, high school. That's probably the last time I filled out, putting the brackets together.
Okay, so high school was the last time you did it. Wow. I kind of get into it, and I have kind of a
Why you say it like that?
Well, no, just because you're a long way from high school, Herman, and so that's actually a long time ago. Where, like, for me, I filled one out yesterday, and so I usually do it every year. I hate to be wrong. I hate when my bracket gets blown up. I just take you as a person, and the only reason I say this is because you had this basketball tournament that you did for charity at the University of Virginia. I just assumed that you liked basketball. So maybe you don't. I don't know.
No, I love basketball. Basketball is my sport. Football is probably secondary, and it's just that I just wasn't tall enough. I didn't keep growing. I stopped at 6'5", and my handle wasn't that great. And I enjoyed being on the boards more so than anything. And just I was that guard that wanted to be really a power forward, but I couldn't dribble.
See, I find it funny. I just think you would be someone who'd be able to dribble. Well, I'm surprised every day.
No, I mean I can dribble, but I mean I can dribble, man. But you got to be able to bring the ball up the court, right? You got to be able to beat the pressure, and it's a little different. And I can dribble. I can take you off the dribble. I can cross you over. I can behind the back through the legs. Everything else, right? All the other stuff. I can travel just like with the best of them, right? Get those extra 50 step in before you make a dribble. Yeah. So I wouldn't have a problem dribbling, carrying the ball and all that stuff. You know how they do.
Yeah, it's like there are no rules. Well, that's the kind of basketball I played. It's called barnyard basketball. You ever play that? Where you just there are no rules. There's no fouls. Do you ever do that, or is that beneath you?
No, man. I never did no barnyard basketball, man.
Okay. Matt Leinart came out recently and said, look, I'm not sharing my jerseys, which is jerseys retired, with anyone. Like I'm not gonna, like, they have some new guy at USC wants to come and take his jersey and wear it. And he says, I'm not unretiring. I'm not giving permission to some dude that's just going to wear it for a year and then transfer somewhere else. He said, effing no. So he's not doing it. All right. So your jersey number, like, how much did it mean to you? Like, is your jersey retired somewhere? I mean, I don't say that to be offensive, but like, I don't keep up with your retirement stuff, but
yeah, no, I don't, I'm not aware of my jersey being really retired anywhere. I think I have like the University of Virginia. I won't say it's like they retire your number, but there's something they do with it. So I know UVA with the number 87 did something there. With the Lions, it's just the pride of the Lions, no retired number. So no, I would have to say no. I don't even think even my high school, because I wasn't very good in high school. I mean, I was okay, but so I haven't had the privilege of doing that just yet.
So what are the perks of being in the Ring of Honor with the Detroit Lions? Like, do you get like discounts at certain restaurants?
I mean,
or
you get to go to whenever they have like the alumni games and stuff like that, they, bring you down on the field. And we did get tickets, to come to the games.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it. Yeah. Nothing else that I'm aware of.
So does your jersey mean, like, the number, does it have any significance, or do you don't care, or
The 84?
Yeah.
No, not really. I mean, the 84 is interesting how I got it. So when I came in, I was 87. You have to actually go back to my high school time. So John Stallworth, I was a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan, still am.
Yeah.
He was number 82. So I wanted to emulate him, and I wore 82 in high school. Then when I got to college, 82 was taken, so I had to take 87. So 87 had no real significance. And then I wanted to keep 87 because of the success that I had in college. And when I went to the Lions and got drafted, Jeff Campbell had it. And so the only one was available was 84, because they had just recently released Richard Johnson, who was run and shoot receiver, one of their leading receivers.
Yeah.
So that's how I had 84. I asked Jeff Campbell if he wanted to switch. He said no. And so I had 84, but 84 kind of went with more, and it kind of stuck. And then I kept 84. And there was a few other guys who were in the league who had 84 at the time. Sterling Sharp was kind of my idol coming into the NFL at that. If I had to be like fanning over, a player, I'd be like, man, Sterling Sharp, because he had, no sleeves, the black gloves, and he was just a beast, And so I enjoyed wearing 84, and that primarily because of him, I kept it.
Okay. So Jack Hughes, of course, is the hero of the U.S. hockey team. And he wants his hockey puck back. They took the hockey puck and he wants it back. He wants his memorabilia. He wants his his I guess, I don't know why, but it got me thinking about memorabilia, right? And like, do you have a piece of memorabilia that you just go, oh man, this is my favorite? Do you care about your memorabilia? Like, does it matter to you? Like, are you like demanding that you get your hockey puck back? You know, what are you, how do you feel about the memorabilia? Like the game balls, or, like, do you care about your balls? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I care about my balls, man. I do. Oh man, what's wrong with you, dude?
I'm just asking the questions. It's like
I care about my football. I care about I care about the footballs from when I played.
Yeah.
And we all knew that where those actual items end up, who knows? I know that we would mysteriously sometimes have jerseys that would be missing. We'd have different things that would be just swapped out for no reason. And I think that's, everyone knew, right? Just kind of how that works. And people are collecting memorabilia, game used stuff. But I was really a stickler of keeping all the items that I had. And it wasn't for no other reason other than I just kept them. I don't want to say I was a hoarder or anything like that. But, the memorabilia is important because when you think about it after your career, it's great to amass that and collect those things. And given some of the things that I'm doing now in that space, there's definitely a turning point of where that becomes more significant. And you can create storytelling with it. You can create some different memories and share points with fans. If you do it right, if you're really doing it with purpose. And that's really why I'm in the space. But yeah, I mean, I kept some of the things, some of my most prized pieces aren't necessarily the pieces that are mine. They are memories, they're stories, they're significant moments. Like I was telling some people the other day, Scott, when I got released by Detroit, there was a lot of things they had in my locker. Primarily, they put all your stuff in a bag. It was on a Monday, I think, or a Tuesday. All the lights were off in the locker room. It was awful. And I'll share this. And so it's dark, and they say you can come and get your stuff. So it was all wrapped up in a little mesh bag, and everything was there. And I looked at everything that was in my locker. I left everything that was in that bag. I took out, I think I had a pair of gloves, and I had a couple other, artifacts and things that I wanted to keep. But the primary thing I took was my nameplate that was on top of the locker.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing I really wanted. I said,
Really?
you can have all the rest of this stuff, right? I don't really care, but I don't want to leave. If I can't be here, then I can't leave my name here either, as part of it. And that was kind of my mentality at that point. And it didn't end well. So it was, there was some parts there that, could have went a lot better than what they did. So yeah, man. Some of my memorabilia has stories to it that are deep like that. So I keep it, but most of the other stuff, like, these really cool pieces, people will be like, why are you keeping that? I let it go. I don't care about it. I mean, I care, but I think it belongs more to the fans. And I'd rather them have it on their mantle than for me to have it stored in a box, just stored away that I'm never gonna pull it out of the box.
How big is your box that you store stuff? Is it a
Storage
unit? So you have storage units. Yeah.
Units.
Yeah. Units. Wow.
Yeah. I was given a lot of really cool things. That's organized. Yeah. Very organized. Like I was given some really cool things, and
what was cool? Like what did you get? What did you get that I didn't get? That's what I want to know.
Well, you didn't really give me anything, man. You gave me only thing you threw me were passes. It ain't like you made my career successful or anything like that. You had nothing to do with it.
So
listen, so a real cool thing, man. Like, so I have one of your jerseys. I kept that, and you signed for me. I have one, ironically, from Lomas, which makes for a great story. That the history you two had. I have the plaques that the NFL gave me from when I set the NFL record. And then the one with Brett and I and stuff like that, the Lions MVP award, and some of that kind of stuff I'll have. But I mean, I got paintings that people have given me. I have these Russian dolls that you pull apart, and you get down to it. And why am I the last one in it? So I'm like this big, but the doll is like this big, but then my piece is like this big in it. And some really cool little pieces like that, man.
So that MVP, that's a big deal because Barry all the time. It's like,
Yeah.
to actually take the MVP away from Barry, that's almost sacrilegious. That might be the
I
best
know.
piece of memorabilia you have.
I know. I don't show that to too many people, man, because I
Yeah.
don't want to stir the pot, you know.
Yeah. Because you say this, and I'm like, wow, I didn't realize that that anyone else won it. So I have a bunch of footballs. They're game balls. I have a bunch that have been like memorialized. They have all the painting on it, and it says it's for this and whatever. But I probably have 20 or 30 footballs that I know are from games. I know they're important, but I have I couldn't tell you they're literally just a bunch of footballs.
Well, Scott, that makes no sense.
No, I know it doesn't make any sense. And so I'm almost thinking I think I'm going to just make up stories for these folks. Well, yeah, this one was right here when, I don't know. I just make up stories. I have a bunch of them, and I remember putting them in. I remember having them and going, well, I'm not going to forget what this is about. Like, and I'll come back to this at some other point, and I'll be able to attach a story to this football. But at this point, it's not happening. I've found that as I get older, I care so much less. Like to me, it just doesn't matter like it used to. But so when you say storage units, like, are you talking more than 2? And like, what size are we? Are these big storage units?
No,
Are they?
I mean,
Climate
you can consider them
controlled?
big. 10 by 30. I mean, that's pretty
10
big
by
unit.
30?
Yeah.
Jeez.
But you got to think about it. Like what you're thinking about when you think of memorabilia, you may think of or these different relics or these different items. You're thinking more along, okay, you have I don't know, cards or footballs or helmets or something like that. No, I'm talking like, it may be a bike, a motorcycle. It could be a large painting. It could be like, for instance, when I did what's it called, the Blitz, and they gave out those big actual big game arcade games units. Like, I got a few of those, right? Instead of them paying me, I said, hey, I like the nostalgia of this because it's the old school Blitz football games. And when we relaunched it, I said, okay, send me a few of those, and you can cut my pay just a little bit, and I just want to hold on to those items, and I'm going to do something with those. What will I do with them? I don't know. And so I kind of think ahead with some of the things that I do versus just it's in the moment. But I'll keep a lot of other stuff, man. It's like I got a lot of framed jerseys and stuff like that. But I take up all my wall space just trying to hang up all these jerseys that I had framed over the years. And like I said before, things have changed. And I think the market itself, because again, I look at it from a business standpoint. I've worked with all the card companies. I've worked in the space. I've worked around the intellectual property. And what I've seen is that's one of the last frontiers that the athletes need to really look at. I won't say infiltrating, but really participating in at a greater space, because our name, image, and likeness is used at such a great level. And yet our returns on that is very small. And I know the industry knows that. So they know it's coming. So I'm ahead of it. And I've been in that space for a few years, just studying it and understanding really how to move and shake in that space.
Do you ever get involved in like NFL Players Union president or Players Association? How involved in stuff like that are you?
Not very much, but I think it would be great to be involved in it, just to be able to help in not just the negotiation side of it, but really getting the players to really understand not only their real-time value, but the value that extends post-career.
Yeah.
And then also, how do they make themselves continue to be relevant, especially if they had, pretty storied careers, and understand the value that they're still leaving on the table that somebody else is actually monetizing. And, when you start looking at how these deals are put together and how do they trickle down to the entire league, I think there's a lot of pockets that are being missed because it's not a knock, but I think some of the people at the top have been in the space so long that they're not caught up to all the evolution of what's happening and all the new ways of monetization. They run them just as, nonprofit organizations would over years. And it's just, okay, they're fiduciary. responsibilities, but not necessarily the growth and the business development side of it versus, oh, here's an opportunity. Well, I don't want just the opportunity. I want to sit at the table. And in doing that, that's the mindset. And I think a lot of the younger players, because of the revenue and the money that they're making, they're starting to look at it in that space, in that sense as well, which is proper, but that's going to take time. They can't accelerate the process because you know, experience is experience. You have to experience those. I've been to thousands of events, and I've been a part of the table of, you know, how these deals get put together. So you understand the why and the how and the who and what the end results are going to be. So therefore, as I'm looking at an opportunity, or I'm looking at a new venture, I'm already putting all those pieces together and working it into the equation. So, man, it's like we can go on and on and on this side of it, on the business side of sports. But it's bigger to me than just memorabilia. You know, memorabilia is just a product that's within the space.
Bill Belichick, of course, I think everyone say, greatest coach of all time. I mean, it's hard. I don't know that anyone can really touch what he's done. Goes to North Carolina, kind of weird. Doesn't really do very well. Has a very young girlfriend. There's kind of eye rolls and all kinds of crazy stuff around him now. Very unconventional for a guy that's considered the greatest, football coach in professional football. Is there at what point, what level, like, does it tarnish your reputation, your legacy? Is he doing things that could do that? And like, where, because there's some names I want to go through that, like, are their legacies irreparably harmed, or can you irreparably harm your legacy after you're done? I'm not talking about when you're playing. I'm like, you're done. You've had your career, boom, like it's in stone, but is it really? And where does that line, or can you actually do it? So do you think Bill Belichick is going down a path where people go, yeah, I'm not so sure, because he wasn't voted in the first time with the Hall of Fame. And I'm just wondering, I don't know what you think about that.
Well, think of it like this. So there's the branding side of it. There's the professional. You're not going to take his accolades. Accolades are accolades, right? You can't change history. You can't change what people have done in a particular space or sport. What we're talking about is a total body of work at this point. There's you've allowed people into your personal side of your life. You've made that become kind of locked step with your public side. And now that's starting to go into your legacy side. So now you're giving people this whole pool to take into consideration, versus before it was, let's just talk about my private life is so private, you don't know anything about it. And you only could talk about my professionalism, what I've done on the field. And now we've started to see leakage, and you've kind of opened that door. Then you gotta be solid, or you gotta own it. And I think for him, he's owning it. He's basically like, listen, man, this is my life. If I want to date down to whatever age group I want to, and I want to be whatever I want to be, that's what I'm going to be. This is a different part of the story. But I think in all fairness, we should look at him and judge him. If we're talking about professional football, we're talking about his legacy in sports, you keep it there. If we want to talk about how he handles himself later in his life and what he's doing in his new career as a collegiate coach, and his personal life and dating and all these other things, that's a whole different conversation that can be had by a whole different subset of people. But I don't think one should necessarily pull the other one down, especially if it's not illicit or illegal activity. If he's not doing that, man, do what you want to do. If he wants to sit around and go hang out with certain international bathing suits on the beach over in Turks and Caicos or international waters and have photos, go for it. But you got to be able to take what comes with it in terms of public perception, criticism, and or support. So I'm one to say I don't think it affects his legacy, and it should definitely not affect whether or not he goes into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a first ballot candidate. Right? That doesn't work. We've seen people do a lot worse, and we've seen people who have done some things that have been, that have had different types of headlines that did not have the same issue or concern around it. I don't care about who he's dating versus
right.
I'm more concerned about the people over here that are competing and participating in illicit activity, illegal activity. And yet, there's no big deal. Can't have that standard.
So a guy like Pete Rose, like I mean, he was just synonymous with baseball and was this legendary player, had an incredible legacy, and then of course he gets caught betting on baseball games after the fact, when he's a manager, and that's all people remember now is that he's kind of this he's got to never be in the Hall of Fame, and everyone goes, well, he should be in the Hall of Fame, kind of along your place where it's something that happened after the fact. It has nothing to do. Well, I know that he was a manager and he was representing baseball and all this stuff, and I get it because eventually they did let him in the Hall of Fame, and so they were able to forgive him at some point. And I don't know. I'm just wondering. I look at like at Michael Vick, the same thing. As Michael Vick, he was arrested, went to jail for this dog fighting thing, and he was on his way to being this just I think agent of change in the NFL with the way he was playing quarterback. It was like no one had ever seen anything like this, but then he came back and he was kind of forgiven, and now maybe his legacy's not what it would have been, but I think people are looking at him differently. And I'm just curious, like, where is the line, and can we look past certain things, or can we just not look past Pete Rose and what he did?
Well, I think when we look at it in those contexts, like we talk about Coach Belichick, it's different. It's a different place. Now, let's say we talked about Spygate and Deflategate, and we talk about all these particular. There may be some question as to his coaching methodology and styles in which they went about playing the game. If there was something ever found out that they cheated the game and that he did some things that were illegal within the game itself, then yes, I think you should not be given the opportunity, nor should you be given the ability to be honored in accolades in things that you've accomplished that were done, illegally or done against the rules. If you are in a criminal situation, there could be a character piece that you can go after and say, listen, we're not going to let this person in, because I think there is a responsibility also as a person when you're given these accolades to keep them. You can't go out and commit crimes and be a Hall of Famer and think that the Hall of Fame should allow you to carry their badge and their brand with you, no matter where you go, as if it's anonymous. I think there's a responsibility you have for that. Now, if you are out living your life and you're doing things and you're doing some things that are a lifestyle, but they're not illegal, they're not things that aren't afforded to us through some other rights that we have as people, that shouldn't be held against you. That's just you making decisions to do whatever. But when you go against the game, you go against the brand standard, and you do some things that perhaps are written in there that says, you know what, these are things that you have the responsibility to carry, because we're going to give you this brand that carries the legacy of all the other people, then yeah, now we have a conversation to say whether or not you're deserving or whether or not you get to keep it.
All right, I'm going to throw some names out at you.
All right.
And I'm going to say legacy intact or not. Like, so I'll just throw them out, and you
define
decide.
that when you say legacy intact. When you say legacy intact, meaning
defined by you. So like your opinion. So I'm going to say, do you think that their legacy is still what it should be, or no, their behavior caused their legacy to be tarnished and diminished?
Okay.
All right, Brett Favre. Do you think Brett Favre is he had some issues kind of late in his career with being married and all this stuff with this Jen Sturgis with the New York Jets. There have been some possible alleged mishandling of state money for his own building, I guess a volleyball facility for his daughter. Is legacy intact or not?
Depends. Here's where, and this is again,
in your
I
opinion,
deal with it at this level.
Okay.
but I don't, here's the thing. In my opinion, I have to know, one, has he been convicted of those particular alleged crimes? As it relates to the state funds. If he has, then I think that's a conversation you could definitely have. And I think there's a conversation and a possibility that you can take that from that person. I believe that there's a responsibility that comes with that. If, you're talking about an illegal affair. Now, if he did something that was illicit or illegal and it brought out criminal charges as it relates to the affair, then that's a conversation that should have been had prior to him going in, because that would have been during a time that was known, right? But having an affair is not illegal. I mean, it could be immoral, right? It could be whatever. But for us to look at a league that we come from, where there are marital issues, there's relationship issues across the board, from ownership all the way down through the locker room, then you basically are disqualifying probably 50% or more of the league, right? In all sports. So I don't think that one's going to fly. But if you're looking at, like I said, if there's illegal pieces there, then yes, I think there's a conversation to be had. And if a decision is made, I think it could be made with merit.
O.J. Simpson. So O.J. Simpson was not found guilty with the murder of his ex-wife, but had an unbelievable career, was a world famous human being. Was his legacy tarnished? And maybe should it be?
His legacy was tarnished in the public eye, but not on the field. Did not have anything to do with that. And the fact that he wasn't found guilty, whether or not we believe he's guilty, is one thing. Right. I believe a lot of people are guilty in a lot of things, but that's not how the law works. If he would have been found guilty, yes, that should have been a conversation that would have been had, and there's merit there to make a decision. If that's in their bylaws, their policies, whatever it is, that they could strip people of that accolade post those things, then yes, I think that would have been a candidate if he'd been found guilty.
OJ is fascinating to me. And of course it happened right in the middle of our careers. And I remember when the verdict came out, and it was really split between racial lines. White people thought he was guilty, black people thought he was innocent. And it was a lot like that in NFL locker rooms as well. But and I was a person who felt like he was guilty, and I did, and I paid attention to a lot of the trial. But recently, I went back and I watched. There's been a couple of documentaries. One recently, and it was a lot of the prosecutors, a lot of the defense attorneys, the ones that are at least still alive, and actually going through that, I'm like, that. I'll tell you what, that defense team was phenomenal. Like, they were really, really good, and I think they laid a foundation that, like, I think I'd want to hire them if I was in that situation. Like, they were phenomenal, and for years I didn't look at it that way, and I went back, and so it was just really interesting, but a very racially divided issue in the country, and OJ was just such a sport. He's one of the first people that I met. I think was playing for the Miami Dolphins, our first game of the season. He was actually at the stadium, and I was like, man, there's that's OJ. It was like a big deal, meeting him and all that stuff when I was a young player. And sad deal, how it all ended up, but fascinating how it impacts us all in such different ways.
No, absolutely.
Okay, Roger Clemens.
Don't know enough about baseball to make a judgment on him. I'm that kind of person. If I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know enough about. I know who he is, obviously, as a pitcher and iconic guy. But no, I don't know enough about his whole life and everything around his world.
Barry Bonds. He's another baseball player.
Yeah, I mean, when you start talking about, I don't remember, and I know with him and McGuire and Sosa and all these guys, were going through the use of illegal substance and enhancement for sports performance and stuff like that. Canseco, you name it, right? So I think with those, I don't recall, and you can educate me again. I don't remember what the outcome was on terms of their legacy. But if there was performance and there was enhancement that put them over the top, yes, you take that out. You don't get to do-overs. I don't care if it was for 3 games, because now you're acknowledging 3 games, but it could be longer than that. You just didn't get caught. And I think it needs to be stringent like that, because there are those that play by the rules and those that don't. So, if you say, hey, the outcome was that they admitted or they were found to have used those substances, I think they should be stripped 100%.
I think it's really hard where the sports at a professional level are so competitive, and your offensive and defensive linemen, you're battling each other every play, and so the edge that some guy might have in strength is a huge edge, and quickness, and all these things, and so I think it would be really hard not to be tempted by wanting to do that, wanting to take performance enhancing drugs or something, only because the perception, I think, is that everyone else is doing it. And if I don't do it, I'm at a disadvantage. And I think it puts people in a very precarious position. And it's all perception, because you may know, you may not know. Like, you're certainly not going to know if a guy you're competing against on another team, if they've done that, and you go, well, it's not fair for me. I'm at a disadvantage because this guy's going to be stronger, faster. And so I just think it puts us in a tough position, or puts people in a tough position to cross that line, especially with how competitive and how hard it is to play a professional sport.
Yeah, but here's the argument against that. I I'm short, right? I need to go pay a bill, and I know other people are figuring it out and getting it done without doing illegal. But I figure, hey, the shortcut to taking care of this is to go and do something that I know is illegal, that I know is not what I should be doing, but I'm gonna do that because it's self-serving. That's the difference, because you're looking at, you got to work hard. I don't care what everybody else is doing. I don't care if they're doing enhancement, and if the league rules say it's not supposed to be done, but you're tempted because you think, I'm gonna break the rule because everyone else is breaking the rule. What does that say about you as a character, your character as a person? So that's where, again, I don't think anyone's going to be able to win that argument. You're either on the side of right or you're on the side of wrong. That's it. Is that black and white? Yeah. And if you say I'm going to do it because everyone else is making that competitive edge, then from a character standpoint, who are you? Who are you? I mean, that's a weak person to me, because you can't compete at that level because you just weren't given those physical attributes, or the perception that you have that someone else is bigger, faster, stronger. Then maybe you're in the wrong sport. You need to go do something else, right? That's what professional, in my opinion, sports is supposed to be. You're supposed to set the highest standard, not say I'm gonna do the highest standard, but I'm also going to bend the rules and break the law and break all the things that are supposed to be done to get that competitive edge. If we're going to be rewarding people for that, we're sending the wrong message. And I think that's what's wrong with sports. I think that's what's wrong with marketing. I think that's what's wrong with branding, because it's all about the dollar.
Well,
it's
yeah,
all about what can I get from who can I clean up good enough to make money and make it so that I get this person or those people that draw the most attention in dollars. I think we can make an argument to say dollars will overrule right and wrong at the professional level. And I'm willing to go on a limb and say that. I think that they're willing to bend rules and make some things go away so that the money keeps flowing in some places. And I'm not saying that I'm not picking a sport, I'm not picking a league, I'm not picking a player, I'm not picking an organization. I'm just saying, when you know, right? When you know.
Well, so that pressure, I just think it takes a person who maybe has high character, and they start to question, what am I going to have to do it? Because I look at Roger Clemens or Barry Bonds or Sosa or McGuire, and like, these guys were like unbelievably talented. And in my mind, I'm like, why the freak do you want to do that or need to do that? Because you're already, the elite of the elite, and it just seems like, for some reason you need to go beyond that. Okay, I want to switch gears here. I know you got to get out here, so I'm going to ask you, do you like French fries? That's what I'm going to ask you.
I love French fries.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that. You can't have ketchup with them. What do you dip them in?
I don't see you talk to the wrong one. I'm pretty bland. I don't dip mine.
You're not a
in anything.
dipper.
I like them just either lightly salted or no salt.
Have you ever heard of fry sauce?
No.
Oh man, it's a staple in Utah. So I need to
I'm
take.
sure they find a lot of things that are staples out there in Utah, man. You guys do a lot of things out there that is kind of
No,
suspect.
it's a combination of ketchup and mayonnaise.
No, man. Oh, come on,
It's
man.
fry sauce. That's what it is. It's a
Ketchup and man. Come on, man. In London, isn't it in London or the Europeans that do more of the mayonnaise and French fries as a dip or something like that?
Yeah.
No,
Well,
man,
the English people, they do it in malt vinegar.
Yeah, well, I've had it. When I grew up, I did have it with the malt vinegar because I would have it with fish and chips. There was this place called in Danville, Virginia, called Captain D's. It used to be a rival to like the knockoff of Long John Silver, and they used to have like the malt fries. Yeah, it's good.
It's good stuff. All right, last question. If you were a tree, what tree do you want to be? Like if you could pick any tree, what one would you be?
Tree?
Yeah.
Probably a giant redwood.
Okay. Why?
I just want to be on an endangered list.
Oh,
I just want to be somewhere. I just want to be a tree
unique. You want to be
that you just can't mess with. You got to leave them alone. Just leave me the hell alone. I want to be the tree that at first when you said a tree, I had to stop for a minute because I'm in a cannabis state. When you say tree, trees mean something totally different out here in Michigan.
Okay.
So when you said trees, I said, okay, what tree would I want to be? I didn't
So
know
would
if
you want to be?
you meant like what kind of cannabis strand or what, but so I would love to be cannabis. That's God's hill all right there. Hey Scott, you know what we'll do one day, man? We'll just do it, man. You and I we'll just go blaze up some trees.
We'll
do like Gene Hackman and Morgan Freeman did one day. We'll wait till we're way down in our lives a little bit older, and we'll just take a road trip, man. We'll try all kind of different things. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, we'll see where that goes.
But I just want to be any tree, man. Just a tree that's protected. I don't want to be just.
See, I was going to say
all the tons and tons of trees. I just want to be unique.
Have you seen redwood trees ever? Ever been to redwood forest?
I haven't. I've never seen one.
Pretty remarkable, actually.
But I heard they're phenomenal. I love to get out and see them.
Yeah, there's even some you can drive through. So they cut holes in them. You can drive through. That was before they were
prehistoric type tree, right?
Yeah. They're old. Been around a long time. I think either that one or a palm tree, and only because the palm trees are going to be where it's warm, possibly by the beach. So that would be my thing. That's all I got. Go
palm
be a redwood.
Really?
Go way up high in a redwood tree and burn down.
I'd rather be a redwood than a palm tree. There's not anything whole special about a palm tree. You can get those. You can pick those up and plant them. They're part of the regular landscaping. Hey, bring me a palm tree and plant it in my yard and put it. I mean, nobody's doing all that, man. Come on.
Look,
you got to think bigger, man. You think too small.
No. I was in the middle of Hurricane Andrew when I played for the Miami Dolphins. Okay, 1992. We had sustained winds in my neighborhood over 100 miles an hour. It was like 120 mile an hour sustained winds. And I had this oak tree in my backyard. And before it got over 100, the oak tree was blown over. Big old, beautiful oak tree. But the palm trees never blew over. They would just bend in the wind, and they bend almost in half in the wind. And they have a very small root ball, and it was fascinating. So I learned that in the future I'm gonna have to deal with people like Herman, and I got to be flexible, man. I gotta bend with the wind, and just don't be stiff and rigid, and be flexible, and otherwise you're gonna crumble over. So that's the other reason you want to be like a palm tree.
All right, well, touche to that one then. Let me have this one then. So you can 120
mile an hour winds can't blow over a palm
tree. bends over, just lets people bend you over in your back and all this stuff, man, and just want to just test your all this other stuff. You do that. No, I'm just petrified. You don't even come playing around with me. One, you got to bring more than just one. You got to bring more than a hurricane. You got to bring more than all that. And listen, it's so coveted that I have to be protected. That because it's just, you don't want this to ever leave. You won't see any more like this ever again. Palm trees, you can have them all day. Yo, just go bend over Scott Mitchell over there in the palm trees and just, and let him break in the wind and see if he's willing to accommodate and just be flexible for everyone and just anything and everything that everyone wants. But no, Herman knows what he wants. He knows that he's not playing around, not playing these games.
Hey,
and
trees.
And you come correct. We're gonna get rid of the gray. We're gonna keep it black and white, and then you're gonna come just with honesty and transparency. Do that, we can get along like the get along game. You do anything any different than that, going on down there in Florida. Hang out with Scott and 100-mile-an-hour wind and sway left and right and all this stuff and people pulling you in all different directions. But you know what? You can be good the next day and you just wait for the next one to come and just keep riding it out. I'm not riding it out. Don't even come over here.
Trees are truth tellers. It tells a lot about who we are.
That's
that is
right.
For sure. All right. Go hang out in a redwood tree. I'll catch you later. Thank you for coming on the show. Every week, man, I just learn more and more. It's fascinating. So appreciate it.
That's it. Pick the planets next time, man. Let me know which planet you are. I'll tell you which one I am.
Yeah. I already know which one. The big gassy one. That's the one you're going to be a big gassy giant. That's you.
Well,
right,
that's getting out towards the outer parts of the solar system. That's going to be all your big gas planets anyway. So I'm not going to do those. So I got something different ready and waiting for you.
Tune in.
So
next
you already limited yourself, man.
I didn't say me.
Planet.
I said you.
You stayed in one solar system. I'm going through the entire universe.
All right. I'll study up on my astronomy and I'll have a good answer next week.
Yeah, you do that, Bill.
You got it. All right. There you have it, folks. It's the end of Wednesday. So thank you so much for Herman joining us today. Thank all of you for tuning in. Hope you have a great day. Please like and subscribe, all that stuff. Thank you, Zach, for all you do. This has been the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell. Until then, we'll see you then.